Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, the Drafted Up Podcast. Today, we continue on our divisional breakdown as we enter our home conference, the NFC, and we're kicking it off with Nick's favorite, the NFC East. We get to talk about his G-Men and the other three teams in the division. As always, you know where to find us. Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Like, rate, subscribe, review, follow, search Drafted Up Podcast. We'll be there. We appreciate all the support. Nicholas, how are you this hot Tuesday afternoon?
Oh, surviving it in the room, ready to rock and roll now, baby. You know how it goes. Hey, ready to talk the NFC East. We got the Giants, Philly, Washington, Dallas. I'm not particularly excited to talk about the Giants too much, but man, some of those other teams have really good talent. We got neighbors. We got a guy. We got our one.
You guys got a really good defense, which will
dude,
affect
our defense
fantasy
is so good.
offenses. So the Giants, anti-fantasy football.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Defense, phenomenal. Offense, eesh. The opposite of the Bengals, brother.
Preseason in full effect. Everybody's played their first game.
Dart looked amazing.
Yeah, take everything with a grain of salt, obviously.
Yeah,
but,
for sure. But a lot of the rookies looked good, though.
Yeah, Shedeur looked really good. Jackson Dart, the rookie quarterbacks in general, that got some playing time. Cam Ward led a touchdown drive. Teteroa McMillan looked great for Carolina.
Yeah, 2 nice catches. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of young talent shining in preseason right now, so we'll see how it goes. I don't expect them to be on the field too much, but some guys are letting their starters go a little bit longer than others, like the Bengals, which is kind of nice. Get that slow stretch out early and then hopefully start the regular season hot this time. So
yeah, the Bengals offense looked good though. Joe Burrow,
oh yeah, for sure.
He had 2 touchdowns. So their second team and their first and their defense just in general though.
Yeah, they're
bad against
their
Tanner
first string
McKee,
defense was getting ripped apart by Philly's second string at some point. It was pretty entertaining. Yeah. So Cincinnati Bengals defense looking full form, ready for week 1 of the season.
You would think that would give Trey Hendrickson some leverage in his holdout, but the Bengals ownership, they don't care. So
they don't care. They're not paying.
No extended leverage there for Hendrickson. Soon after we recorded the AFC West preview, Keenan Allen ended up signing with the Chargers. We briefly did touch base on that in the episode in a hypothetical if Keenan Allen did sign, but about an hour after we wrapped up recording, Keenan Allen officially back with the Chargers. So if you want to hear our thoughts on that, you can check out that episode. Obviously knocked down Trey Harris and Quentin Johnston a little bit in the rankings, and that doesn't affect Ladd too much in my eyes. And your boy Alexander Madison, he went on IR. I know you were. He was he's the backup in Miami because you are very anti Jaden Wright.
He looked
Gordon,
like dog shit. So
yeah. His
Ollie Gordon looked amazing.
Yeah, Jaden Wright averaged under 2 yards a carry.
Yeah,
in his preseason.
I think it was 9 for 16, something like that.
He did
real rough.
Score though.
Hey, I'm glad he found the end zone at some point, but
yeah,
he was looking rough.
Ollie Gordon looked really good for Miami.
Yeah, for sure.
Earlier this week.
I honestly expect the backup role to now be Ollie Gordon. I'm not going to lie to you. I have him over Jalen Wright in my rankings. I don't think Wright's that good. I do like Ollie Gordon though.
Yeah, I think my stance is still the same. Like I think Ollie Gordon, if Devon Achan's healthy, Ollie Gordon will end up playing more and have more of a part just because of the power back. But if Achan does happen to get hurt, I think Jaden Wright then becomes a little more valuable because I think he just fills the Achan role because he's just similar speed style playing style. But Ollie Gordon is probably a better talent than Jalen Wright, despite my love for Jalen Wright. He has not picked it up here early on in his career.
No, he's rough. Rashawn Slater also was out for the season.
Yep, yeah. Tough loss for the Chargers there. Torn patella tendon, which is a lot worse than like ACL, MCLs, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it's like a 60-40 he ever returns to form. Yeah, it's not good odds. It sucks, but hey, he got paid So that is the bright side for him. But man, it's rough, dude. Injuries suck. Football, it's rough sometimes. Hopefully, he bounces back and he's a good season next season.
It teeters that line where you're just like, I don't want my guys out there, but you just want football back. But like the training camp and the preseason stuff, really like injuries are like way worse than like when a guy gets hurt during the regular season. But obviously, stay in shape and whatnot, they got to go through the whole rigmarole of the off season, and sometimes like that stuff like happens. But thankfully for the Chargers case, they do have a really good offensive line.
Their line is still really good. It's
not like Rashawn Slater was the anchor that carried the whole line, and without him, they're abysmal. Is Joe Alt going to end up sliding over to left tackle? Yeah, that's what I would do. I haven't heard anything.
I think that is what's going on. Joe Alt is sliding over as far as I'm concerned, but like you said, they did lose their anchor on the offensive line, but their O-line is still really solid through and through. Yeah. So it does affect guys some bit, but not much. I'm still really high on Mario Hampton. I shot him on my ranking since Najee's not doing much, and
I can't even open his left eye. He posted like a picture on Snapchat or something.
We finally got looks at it, and his left eye's still closed. But I'm still high on Herbert, Laddie Daddy. I'm still high on, and I'm still in on the Chargers overall.
Yeah. My thoughts on the Chargers do not change.
No, I still have them winning the division without Rashawn Slater. So,
anything else happen of importance? Rondale Moore's out for the Vikings, but he wasn't going to be fantasy relevant. Anthony Richardson dislocated his pinky on a disgusting play. If you like looked at his pinky, it was so gross, but like I don't know how he didn't see that blind side, but it wasn't even the blind side, it was his regular side, his visual side.
He got blindsided by his regular side. It's insane. Like it's happened though to like real quarterbacks. Andrew Luck has taken sacks like that once or twice his rookie season, but at some point, dude, you have to be able to feel the pressure. He didn't even sense it. His head never once turned.
With mobility, like he could have evaded that.
It was a bad play, and you have to know to throw to where the blitz is coming from. He had two wide open receivers right over those guys. He could have hit one of them as a quick check down, just get rid of the ball. He really needs to learn how to read defenses, dude. He got mollywopped out there on that play.
Yeah, Mike Green, Ravens. He was really good against the Colts. Had a pass rush win rate of 50%. So you love to see that. And we always make the joke that good players just always fall to Baltimore. And this happened to be in the second round with Mike Green.
Yeah, he had some nasty off-field allegations, but the Ravens were cool for drafting him in the second round, and it looks like it's going to pan out, dude. We were super high on Mike Green. We both had him at edge rusher 1 in the draft, or 2 behind Carter. It's just a phenomenal pick. I loved it in the second round, and it's going to shine there in Denver or Baltimore.
Yeah, I think in Matthew Stafford supposed to be back at practice. The back issue, which is concerning. It's kind of skeeving me out because he got an epidermal, and that is like pregnancy level of pain, stuff. And after you give birth, you're not going out there the next day and a few days later practicing for a national football team.
It's a disc issue that I've read about that it's going to be rough, but I expect him to be out there week 1. I don't expect him to do a goddamn thing from now until the weeks or football starts, except some light practice. He'll be out there here and there, but I fully expect Stafford to play, but I am worried though, just because if he's not there, their quarterback's then Jimmy Garoppolo, who Devontae Adams actively hates. We've seen him bitch about him on a Netflix documentary. I don't know how much he's going to appreciate getting balls thrown to him by Jimmy Garoppolo again. So that's going to be a bad vibe if Stafford goes down.
It wouldn't surprise me if Stetson Bennett ends up getting some playing time there. I know he's the third quarterback in LA, but it does make me temper my expectations and give me some worry in Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, where like I'm not as confident as I was drafting them. I didn't drop them in my rankings at all, but that worry is now built in with drafting them in my eyes. If they lose Stafford, they kind of aren't as valuable in my eyes.
I did end up dropping both of those. Okay. I dropped Puka under guys like A.J. Brown, Malik Neighbors, and Nico Collins. Those guys don't have worries in my eyes. Puka has the Stafford worries, so...
Neighbors has this weird toe issue.
I'm not worried about a toe.
That he's been dealing with since college, so I don't know how he hasn't got it fixed.
Just cut it off. It's fine. And I slid Adams down a couple spots as well, just under guys that I don't have as much of a worry if their quarterback ends up going down. But the Stafford thing worries me a lot, though.
Yeah.
But I do think he's going to be out there. Like, at the end of the day, I trust Stafford. He is probably the toughest guy in football.
He's gonna play through it.
Yeah.
Because
he's a dog.
Who knows how much longer he's got going here. All right.
I would say 1 or 2 years. That's all we got left of Stafford. So we got to cherish him while we can, people.
Yeah. Anything else?
Now I'm ready to ride right into this division, doggy. Right into Philadelphia.
Right. The NFC East. Yes, we are starting with last year's division winners, the Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Last season, they finished 14-3. Did you pick them to win? I thought you picked the Chiefs.
No, I picked Philly to win. I'm sure.
Okay. I'm not going back to listen. Their win total is set at 11.5 this season. What I love about Philadelphia is they make fantasy football really easy for us. There's no real questions on target share and who's gonna like split carries. Like, you know what you're getting, and you're getting fantasy relevance from both wide receivers, from the running back, from the quarterback, and then you have a spot startable tight end in Dallas Goedert. So Philadelphia makes it really easy for fantasy projections, which is nice. I love that, because then you don't have to really stress out about, well, will this guy get this and whatnot. But Jalen Hurts, last season, he finished as quarterback 8. He did miss 2 games, 2.5, really. He left a game.
Very
early.
Important games as well.
It was all in the fantasy end of the season, playoffs, and it might have just been the playoffs that he missed.
It was the fantasy playoffs. Yeah. I love having to go into fantasy championship games not having Jalen Hurts, because somehow I squeaked out a win without Jalen Hurts getting hurt, and it was a struggle late in the season. Though, like, he got you to championships, but he did not win you championships. He's one of those guys.
And my mindset, and I know you feel the same. Like, if you have one of those elite quarterbacks, you're not carrying a second quarterback.
Yep. I had to get guys off free agency to start in championships because I had Jalen Hurts in almost every league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he finished his QB8 last year. This year he's being drafted as quarterback 4 at the beginning of the 4th round. A little under 3,000 yards passing, 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That's a 5 to 1.4 touchdown interception ratio. 68.7% of his passes completed, 630 yards, and then, of course, on the ground. And then if you can guarantee anything in life, it's that Jalen Hurts will have double-digit rushing touchdowns, and he did with 14. So, with Hurts, I have him at quarterback 4, so I'm on par with his projection. And he is like one of the quarterbacks I don't mind where he's going in the 4th round, because you're looking at like your mid-round running backs around then. Like Amari Hampton, I would probably take over Jalen Hurts because I'm a little higher on him than most, but like Ken Walker's teetering around that range, Chuba Hubbard, and even like the receivers, Terry McLaurin's going around there, Mike Evans. Like, I would probably lean Jalen Hurts. I mean, obviously, depending on how my team's built there, but like Hurts in that area, I'm fine with, because you're going to get 10+ rushing touchdowns, and you figure he's probably going to get 3,500 passing yards, 20+ passing touchdowns, and should stay under 10 interceptions. So, doesn't turn the ball over a ton. You're going to get a good abundance of touchdowns. Obviously, Philadelphia, high-powered offense. But Hurts is one of the more safer players in fantasy.
Yeah, for sure. He's not going to miss on his ADP, and you're not passing up the talent like you are when you're drafting Josh Allen and Lamar. You're passing up on guys like Kyron Williams, Chase Brown, like elite running backs that could possibly finish in the top 4. Once you get into that 4th round, 5th round, where guys are like Burrow and Hurts are going, that's when I'm comfortable taking one of these elite 5 guys. And Hurts still fits that build for me, dude. So I'm all in on Hurts and the rest of Philadelphia, for that matter.
Yeah. Saquon. Is anything else we need to touch on Hurts? I don't think so.
I have him 3. I have him 1 spot above ADP.
Yeah, which is fair. Like, you can honestly rank those 5 quarterbacks in any order, and I wouldn't push back too much unless you had like Josh Allen 5. Then I'd be like, I don't know about that, big dog.
Yeah, that's a hot take, but hey, man, who am I to guess if Jaden Daniels outperforms Josh Allen this year?
You could put any of those 5, Hurts, Daniels, Burrow, Allen, Lamar, as your QB1, and I'd be, I get it.
Yeah, I get it, for sure.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley, last season, he finished as the RB2 in full PPR because he didn't play the last week of the season, so
Mm-hmm.
Jahmyr Gibbs did pass him. His ADP right now is RB1, going as the second pick. I currently have him as the RB4, but 345 carries, 2,005 yards, 13 touchdowns, 33 receptions, 278 yards, another 2 touchdowns. So we're looking at 500 plus touches
It's a
from
lot.
Saquon Barkley last year, and that's why I have him at 4. But if you had him and you wanted to take him as the RB1, if you pick 2, again, I'm not going to push back because he's such a historical talent, but I'm going to side with history in that, like, guys that get that many touches do see a decline in production the following year. So that is my concern with Barkley, is the fact that he had over 500 touches last
Mm-hmm.
season, and he's been banged up in the past in New York. So
that's the thing for sure. He had so many touches and so much production last year that I don't stat out injuries, but if I had to put money on one guy getting hurt and missing at least one game this year, it's probably Barkley at the end of the day, just based off his past history with the Giants and missing games here and there, missing seasons. He had so much. His workload was insane last year, and I don't wish anything, but if he does miss a couple days, Will Shipley then in my eyes skyrockets. I don't think it's going to be AJ Dillon. I think it's going to be Will Shipley. He's looked good in preseason.
Yep.
I have Will Shipley way higher than I have AJ Dillon in my rankings. I'm way higher on Will Shipley. I wasn't crazy about him coming out of Syracuse, but I think he has more Clemson. Yeah, he went to Clemson.
Orange team.
Yeah, well, I fixed it. He went to Clemson. But he has that production that Barkley can do. He can catch the ball. He's quick. He's shifty. AJ Dillon's just giving the ball to a pile of rocks back there and hoping he gets 3 yards. So he doesn't really fit the Philadelphia offense like Will Shipley does.
I don't even know if AJ Dillon makes the team, honestly.
Oh, no, I agree. There's a chance he doesn't. Like, I know Will Shipley's going to make the team. AJ Dillon might not even make it.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if, like, Montrell Johnson, rookie from Florida, we sort of touched base on him back in the draft process. He kind of ends up as the bigger back on the roster. And if Barkley would get hurt, I imagine he ends up taking some goal line stuff. But Will Shipley does, I agree, become the fantasy option there. Philadelphia did lose Landon Dickerson. He got a little meniscus injury, but he is projected to be back for week 1. At least that's their hope. But it wasn't a full tear. It was minor. So he avoided surgery, which is great for them because the key to the Eagles' success is just how dominant that offensive line is.
Yeah, for sure.
That goes a long way in Barkley's success as well, because if they can open up the holes, it avoids him getting full contact all the time that he might be able to withstand, despite having, I lied, over 600 touches last year.
Yeah, getting the wear and tear. But even if he's not back for week 1, it's a huge relief knowing that he's going to be back at some point this season. It wasn't a season ender like Slater was in LA, so... Yeah. Even if he misses the first 3 weeks, having him back week 4 is a huge need for that team. So, like you said, their O-line runs that offense. So you got to keep Hurts up. You got to keep Barkley fresh. Yeah. It runs through the O-line in Philly.
Are you comfortable taking Barkley second or first overall? I know you're not comfortable taking him first because you've been adamant that you wouldn't take anyone over Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I wouldn't take. I'm taking Chase 1. I wouldn't take him over Bijan. Bijan's not my number 1 ranked running back stat-wise, but he, in my eyes, is the safest because my RB1 has been McCaffrey this whole process, who is covered in red flags. So, and then the guy under Bijan is Barkley. My top 3's CMC, Bijan, and then Barkley. So I would take Bijan too, but then I'm cool taking Barkley 3, though, over Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Gibbs. Obviously, McCaffrey, people aren't going to be looking at McCaffrey that early.
Yeah, but going in, though, you obviously have to temper expectations. Saquon Barkley likely is not rushing for 2,000 yards again. So you gotta be like, you gotta look at a realistic standpoint. He's probably a 1,400-yard guy, but he's still going to produce if he's healthy all year. All right, wide receivers. Again, I brought it up. Philadelphia makes this easy for us. We don't have to contemplate a third passing option as a wide receiver. We don't have to talk about Jahan Dotson or Whoever else they have.
Johnny Wilson's their fourth.
Johnny Wilson. Terrace Marshall's been having a good camp. We don't have to talk about these guys. This is a 2-horse race, and it's A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. A.J. Brown last season, he finished as a wide receiver 20. He did miss time as well. He's currently going as the wide receiver 10, middle of the second round. That's where I have him. I have him at wide receiver 10. 67 catches, 1,079 yards, 97 targets, 7 touchdowns. 16 yards per catch, 11 yards route per target. 13 games, which would have 17 gamed him out to 88 for 1,409. So A.J. Brown, he's big, he's physical, he's flashy, he's constantly productive. He is, again, just like Jalen Hurts, one of the safer fantasy options. And I don't know if he has the top 5 ceiling anymore. Like, he can if the Eagles are going to pass more, but Philadelphia's been reluctant to just pass a ton. So, and Devonta Smith is there as well. But his floor, is 10. Like, he's not going to finish outside the top 10, bearing injury. But you're getting a guy who's probably he could be wide receiver 6, he could be wide receiver 7, he might be able to crack wide receiver 5. I don't think so, but you're getting a really good floor. And he's not going to, unless he gets hurt, he's not going to miss on his ADP.
Yeah, I agree. His last 2 finishes before last season, because he was banged up, were wide receiver 5 and then wide receiver 6. And last season, he was on points per game equal with those 2 seasons. So if he would have played the full season, he would have been close to wide receiver 5 or 6. I have him at wide receiver 7 just because Philly doesn't pass a whole bunch. Neighbors is going to be hyper targeted, and the guys above him are just going to be hyper targeted in higher power offenses.
He's not going to get 150 targets.
No, and that's not going to happen.
Or CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson.
But in this offense, I'm comfortable taking a guy that's not going to be hyper targeted because of Devonta Smith and just the offense they run. They don't pass a ton, but these 2 guys are the receivers. I have A.J. Brown at 7. I have Devonta Smith at 20. I don't have another Philly wide receiver until 100. Jahan Dotson he's literally wide receiver 100 for me. So there's an 80 gap between Devonta Smith and Jahan Dotson. I know what I'm getting out of Philly, and it's 2 guys that are targeted as wide receiver 1s in just football in general. Devonta Smith sees the same targets as a handful of wide receiver 1s on any other team. So I get he's a number 2 in this offense, but he's a wide receiver 1 when it comes to stats. I'm tremendously in on A.J. Brown. I have him over ADP, and I'm also in on Devonta Smith. What is his ADP? I would assume it's under.
So Devonta Smith last season, he did finish as wide receiver 27 again. He also missed time. They both played 13 games. Yeah. He's going as wide receiver 24, and I feel that's always the range he's in. He's in that 24 to 30 range, and I feel every year both you and I are higher than ADP. I also have him at wide receiver 20.
Nice. Okay.
Jahan Dotson is in my top 100, though. He is 93, so we're not too far off. I love Jahan Dotson, the talent. I think
for sure, coming out of Penn State, dude, he was
I would love to see him become the third passing option here over Goddard, but that's just not the style Philadelphia plays. But,
that's not gonna happen.
Devonta Smith, 89 targets, he had 68 catches for 833 yards, 8 touchdowns, 12 yards a catch, 9 yards per target. His season would have been 90 for 1,089 and 10 had he played the full season. That's the pace he was on. Like you said, he gets low-end wide receiver 1 targets because Philadelphia, it's neutralized. It's those 2 guys. So that's why it's you don't have to worry about taking that high shot on a wide receiver 2, hoping he gets extra targets, because Devonta Smith does get those targets because of how the offense functions. So I love where he's going. He's going in the middle of the 5th. I'm very comfortable taking him there. And with Philly, and same with Cincinnati, it's so easy to stack these guys with the quarterback. You can get Hurts and Brown or Hurts and Devonta together. It's an easy task to achieve. So if that's your cup of tea and that's something you strive to do for the little extra points, Philadelphia's offense is functionable there.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And when we say extra points, we don't mean that there's bonuses for having guys on the same team. But
no,
when Hurts has a nice 60-yard touchdown to Devonta Smith, man, it feels good because I'm getting 2 touchdowns out of this, and it's just I love everything about it. So they're so stackable, and just like Burrow and Higgins and Chase, those guys, you can easily get Burrow and one of the other two, or both of them if you really wanted to get freaky. Yeah, man, I don't know. I'm just always in on Philly the last couple of years when it comes to fantasy, and I don't know if it's a living around here, but the culture is just, it's different now. It's not like it used to be, dude. It's not like the angry Philadelphia. It's
still don't like Nick Sirianni. That guy's a clown.
Nonsense, dog. He's such a vibe. Everything about Philly's a vibe. Like, as a Giants fan, growing up, I used to despise Philly, living in Philadelphia, but now I just embrace it, dude. I'm not nowhere near an Eagles fan, but it is hilarious. And having this platform to talk about them, I'll constantly back Philadelphia. And when we get to the end of the NFC, we'll see that again.
I would agree that it kind of has shit. Philadelphia fans aren't nearly as bad as they were a decade ago. And
no,
I'd
not.
be willing to say they've just kind of lost that bitterness because they've won Super Bowls now. Well,
yeah, I agree.
After they won their first Super Bowl, it kind of changed, and now they got their second one. So, but every fan base has terrible fans. There are Eagles fans that are unbearable.
Oh, for sure.
Nobody messes. Go Birds.
Go Birds. Dickhead.
Defensive wise too, really good defense.
Stacked, dude. Probably the second best defense in football behind Denver.
We could talk about our boy Cooper DeJean. He's there, living it up. Quinyon Mitchell, if you're going to draft a fantasy defense, this is a good one. And then Dallas Goedert. I'm lower on him than ADP. He's going 17, middle of the 11th. I have him at 22. He finished at 27 last year. He did only play 10 games, and a 17-game pace was nice. 71 for 843, but only 3 touchdowns. He finished with 42 for 496 and 2. Goddard, he's a streamable guy. He's not a guy I want as my tight end 1, but if I do punt the position and I miss out on everybody say teams end up drafting a second tight end before I even get to it, Dallas Goedert is a fine draft and plug in for week 1, see what happens there. But he's not a guy I'm actively hitching my wagon to and keeping locked in my lineup.
Yeah, I have him at tight end 17, so right on with ADP, but the guys I have him around are all just streaming tight ends like Kincaid, Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, Kyle Pitts. These are guys that you cannot rely on to be your everyday starting tight end. But Goddard is a guy that you can plug in there, and one day he does have 5-6 catches for 60, 70 yards, and maybe if you get lucky, it is the game he scores. And then you're riding a high.
Goes up if one of the other guys go out.
Especially Devonta Smith. When Smith is out, Goddard.
Same with Smith when Goddard's hurt. His volume goes up.
AJ Brown usually gets the same, his stuff is set in stone. But when one of the other two kind of is missing a game, the other one rises up and it's nice. Goddard becomes an everyday start if Devonta Smith is out. Or even AJ Brown, obviously. But I'm all in on most of Philly. Goddard as a streaming tight end. It's hard to be in on streaming tight ends, but hey, he's one of the good ones for sure.
Yeah, Goddard will probably be a guy in most home leagues who bounces around teams, and he's probably on half the rosters in the league just because he plays for a good offense. So he's got touchdown upside as well, and he's decent after the catch despite being, slow and plodding.
He's shifty. He knows how to move for sure. But there's usually 4 to 6 teams that are punting the tight end position and kind of just kick it around throughout the year. And most likely Goddard will end up on all 6 of those teams for sure.
All right. Ready to move on to Washington?
Yes, sir. Got nothing else for Philly.
The big howdies, the Washington Commanders, last season 12-5. Their win total is set at 9.5 this year. I'll tell you, I'm going under that. I'm worried about the Washington Commanders. I am. And I've said that before. I think this is one of the teams that you could see a downside in their record, but I'm not worried about Jaden Daniels. Last season, Daniels finished as the QB5. He's going as the QB3. Towards the end of the 3rd round, I have him as my quarterback 5. 3,500 yards, 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, another 891 yards on the ground, and 6 touchdowns as well. So he gives you 1,000-yard upside on the ground. He can get there. And he gives you, I think, 4,000-yard upside through the air.
Yep.
The worry is Terry McLaurin's holding out, so we don't know when or if he's back. And if he does come back, he's missed most of camp. So how fresh is he? Deebo Samuel then becomes the option if McLaurin's not there, and that's not ideal. Eckler and Brian Robinson both were banged up. They only played 12 games, 13 games for Robinson, 12 for Eckler. The other receivers there is Luke McCaffrey, Noah Brown. Like, those aren't names that are revving your engines. And then you got Zach Ertz and Ben Sinnott. Like, that's what worries me about Washington, is the fact that if Terry McLaurin's not there, it kind of just is all on Jaden Daniels, and I think he'll be fine. He will be fine for fantasy. I just think it ends up resulting in them losing more games because this is the oldest team in football. Defense is just okay. They're not elite. They're not bad, but they're kind of middle of the pack. So the lack of weapons, that's what kind of worries me. I just think it's one of those years where, like, you just see a step back from the team, but Jaden Daniels, whether they're down a lot or just the fact he runs, is going to be really good for fantasy.
I agree that they're going to have a quote-for-quote step back, but I kind of think it's going to be like Houston's. If everyone remembers Houston's season, it was a big step back last year, for sure. They still won 9 games and then won the division.
But Houston played in a terrible division, and the NFC is really good.
I get that. But at the end of the day, I trust Jaden Daniels to be a 9-win quarterback every season. I don't think he's going to maybe 8 wins. I think that's the lowest he's going to possibly go.
I have him finishing
too good.
8-9.
He's too good to be less than 8 wins. At the end of the day, Jaden Daniels will win them 8 games. I think Terry McLaurin's going to play most of the season, but I agree. His hamstrings and his groins are going to be an issue because of not being out there all preseason. And that's
also old.
And that's usually when guys end up getting hurt, is when they miss camp. But I still trust Dan Quinn and the coaching staff and Jaden Daniels and the owners. It's all the same important pieces that it was last year, except Terry McLaurin. And I think he's going to be out there. I just don't know when. But I trust it. I still have them, I think, as a wild card team will get there. But I trust Jaden Daniels and the coaching staff at the end of the day. Sure, the talent around him is not great. The defense played much better on the back end of the season last year than it did the start of the season. And I still trust Bobby Wagner to run that defense like Jaden Daniels does the offense. He's one of the best leaders on defense in football. So I still think it's going to be there. Brian Robinson's still decent. Eckler is still decent. You just have to hope they're both going to miss games. You just have to hope they're not the same game. You just need one of those guys out there every week. But I don't know. I think it's going to be fine. I don't think it's going to be as good as it was last year, but I still think Jaden Daniels is good enough to get this team pretty far.
Yeah, so I have them at 8 and 9. So I do like Jalen Lane. Like, I do think he's the guy I'm taking a shot on if I'm going to try to bank on another receiver here. I loved him coming out of Virginia Tech. I just think he gets out there and becomes more viable for this team in the stretch. They lost one of their linemen too, Sam Cosmi. So, like, it's already sort of just not going ideally right now. And that's what kind of worries. Like, it's not a talent issue or a trust issue. Like, I think they'll be fine otherwise. I just think it's just one of those weird years where they just kind of have a setback, and that happens all the time. We see good teams have down years. I just think Washington kind of falls into that structure. Like I said, 8 and 9, and it doesn't worry me about Jaden Daniels at all. Like, he is record drama proof. Bearing injury, he's going to be perfectly fine. Brian Robinson, he finished RB29 last year. He's going as RB30, end of the 7th round. I'm at 27, so I'm a little higher than ADP. A little 799 yards, just under 800, 8 touchdowns, 20 catches, 159 yards. So doesn't give you much through the passing work. It had his 17 game pace was 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, and then Eckler, he finished as RB34 last year. He's going as RB47. He is criminally being discounted. I don't know why. Age, maybe. I'm not crazy big on Eckler. I have him at RB37, though, which is 10 spots higher than where he's going. He's going at the end of the 14th. 367 yards, 4 touchdowns, 366 yards through the air. 4 touchdowns. I said 10. 4 touchdowns. 35 catches. His 17-game pace would have been 520 yards, 6 touchdowns, 50 catches for 434. Austin Eckler's fantasy value is all PPR based. He's not going to be bringing you a ton of value in. He's fine half PPR. You can start him here and there, but he doesn't have the same upside, obviously, if you're getting the full point. And then no PPR, again, get out of that league. But he has 0 fantasy relevance in a standard scoring league. So where do you fall on Eckler and Robinson?
Robinson, I have him at 29, so right above ADP, and then Eckler I have in 37, so 1 spot below you and almost 10 spots above ADP.
Same spot.
I'm in 38. I'm in 38, 1 spot lower.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, I'm in. I think both these guys are going to be productive again. You know what you're going to get with Brian Robinson. He's almost had the same exact season 3 years in a row.
Yep.
700, 800 yards, 7 to 8 touchdowns. He's very consistent every single year, but he gets hurt. And Eckler looked good last year. Like, he looked like Austin Eckler last year. He didn't look like the Eckler we seen the year prior in LA with the Chargers.
Yep.
And in a backup role, he doesn't have to be taking this huge workload and getting banged up and playing hurt. And he can kind of just relax on downs. And I think he's going to have close to 50 catches, because who else is going to catch that ball in that offense, especially if Terry McLaurin's not there? It's like him and Zach Ertz essentially at that point. So, because Robinson's not going to catch a ton of passes, but he's still going to get a few here and there. But Eckler becomes a primary receiving option just consistently for Jaden Daniels if he's on the field. So, yeah, 47 doesn't make sense as ADP. That's crazy low. Hopefully it goes up we're kind of already in draft season, so it's probably going to already be there. So start stacking Eckler. Yeah.
If he goes earlier than that, home leagues, it's off name. People know Austin Eckler is just from fantasy pass. But he's one of my favorite just late round grabs, because in a pinch you could put him in your lineup and he can PPR his way to a flex.
Oh yeah, for sure. Finish. Especially if you go hero RB and you get 1 RB, and then you just need veteran guys that are going to be on squads like him and J.K. Dobbins and maybe Najee Harris if the injury heals up, but he's not quite in the same boat as those other two. Jerome Ford, he's another guy in that same bucket, is just a guy that's going to be able to play because he's out there and no one else really is.
Yep. All right, let's try to break this receiving room down.
I'd rather not.
McLaurin finished as wide receiver 7 last year, which is an outlier season for him. He's currently going as a wide receiver 17, end of the 3rd round, last pick. I have him at 23 right now, and that's not a confident 23. That is I respect Terry McLaurin's talent and ability ranking of 23. Only had 117 targets, 82 catches, 1,096 yards, 13 touchdowns. Those touchdowns are the only reason he was that high, and that's not his game. Now, I don't think Terry McLaurin is necessarily what he was pre-Jaden Daniels, where he was only getting 4 to 5 touchdowns. So if he is out there, I think you find the happy medium 7 to 8, which is good for McLaurin, because 7 would be the second highest of his career, tied with his rookie season. So he's not going to get 13. Obviously, he's a prime candidate for touchdown regression, but we're drafting him higher than I'm comfortable taking him, just because he's not out there at camp. He doesn't get huge targets, like 120, 140, 130 targets. He's 117 last year. So this is a team that wants to run the ball, and so that does worry me. He's going to end up starting slow because he's missing camp. So he's just someone I'm just kind of out on, unless I can get him for a really good value. So if like everybody else in the league's out on him and Terry McLaurin falls to the 5th round, I'm more inclined to bite that bullet than I am at the end of the 3rd.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't wide receiver 24, so we're in the same boat for sure. But if he's really not there, I really don't want another receiver on this team, because I'm not willing to tie my boat to Debo or Noah Brown or Chris Moore or Luke McCaffrey or Jalen Lane. I'm out completely. But now let's say, because we draft late, we try to draft as late as possible towards the end of August, maybe first weekend of September. Where would you put Terry McLaurin if he signs a deal before then?
I'd probably still have him right around here. I might move him to like 20, but I don't think I'm moving him much higher just because he's missed most of camp.
Yeah,
So
I agree. I think he would jump up.
He'd be a prime trade for candidate for me if he starts slow, which history shows he will because of the camp missing. So the Terry McLaurin owner might be a little frustrated with him. Then I might try going for him at like week 3 or 4 and hope that now he's got his wheels under him. He's had his preseason now being those first 3 games, and then he becomes closer to what he was last year. So yeah, that's my stance on McLaren. He's a prime trade for candidate, but he's not someone I'm drafting actively because I just don't like where he's going.
Yeah, 13 is a little high. If he ends up signing a deal, he'd be in the range of like 16 to 20. That would be the range. So you're still taking him above where I would be comfortable taking him.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to remember, that's how he started last year. Terry McLaurin was terrible the first 2 weeks of football. I would know because I traded him. And then my dumbass had to trade back for him later in the year because I needed him. But he started off so slow, and I'm like, oh, I'm out. He literally like gave me like 1 or 2 points. I'm like, I can't do this. I got to move on, get what I can get for Terry, and then get something in return. That's going to happen again. I think 1-2 weeks going to like kind of get the ball rolling.
Yeah,
and then
his first 2 weeks were bad. 2 for 17.
They were terrible.
6 for 22.
You're trust me, brother. I remember how terrible Terry McLaurin was to start the season.
He had 100 yards week 3.
Yeah, the week after I traded him. My fucking dumbass.
You traded him when he was playing the Bengals.
Hey, look, I needed guys, and Terry McLaurin was the guy I needed to get rid of. But that's just an example of you got to move guys if they're not hot, and then it might come back and bite you in the ass. So, but you got to pull the trigger sometimes, and I ended up getting them back later in the season, so it was worth it. But yeah, dude, 13 was way too high. Scary. Scary Terry.
Scary Terry. The other wide receiver being drafted on this team is Deebo Samuel. He finished as wide receiver 44 last year. He's going as wide receiver 40 in the 8th round. I got him at 53. I
am at 54.
I am not in on Deebo. I love Deebo. He was the guy, but
not a big Deebo
guy.
And
I know early in the offseason, we were just like, yeah, this is a good scenario for Deebo because you're never going to get him this cheap. And even so, I've kind of backpedaled on that. I'm still not willing to take him in the 8th round. 51 catches last year on 81 targets, 670 yards, 3 touchdowns, 42 carries for 136 yards. That's only 3 yards a carry. He did have another touchdown, though. But, yeah, I just don't see them utilizing him in the running game like San Francisco did, so I don't see him getting 40 carries. And the catches he gets, he's like a tight end. He's real slow and plodding now. He's not that shifty dude that was coming out of South Carolina, and injuries caught up to him there, obviously. But
he's an old version of Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah, if
that's
you
exactly what he is.
Take the shot and go that the scenario and Jaden Daniels boost Deebo up, more power to you. And if it works, great on you for taking that shot. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be me. It's not me.
No, I was never crazy about Deebo, and he doesn't really particularly care for getting a whole bunch of rushes. He's older. He's going to get banged up. I don't think he's going to be here and there. He might have a carry, maybe 5 or 6 on the year. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. A couple end arounds here and there, but nothing of fantasy value.
I would say he probably gets 20, which would be the third lowest of his career.
I don't even know if that's going to happen. I think that's pushing it. I don't think they're going to use him in that way at all. Maybe jet revert, sweeps. I don't think it's going to be used out of the backfield.
They might have to if Brian Robinson gets hurt.
Yeah, they got
that's
Jacoby Merritt Crossing, whatever that rookie's name is.
Merritt, I think he's more Austin Eckler though. So,
I think he's more of anything. I think he's good.
Yeah. I think Deebo's work might be in the red zone. You might see him get some red zone carries here and there, but I don't think it's going to be enough to boost, give him that boost that he was always getting in fantasy. We kind of just lock ourselves into that year in 2021 where Deebo had 1,400 yards.
Not me.
And 360 on the ground and, 13 total touchdowns. And since that year, it's been 632, 892, 670. Like, I think that's the range where Debo's going to finish in his yards. Like, he's not a hot. I don't even know if he gets to 800, but
I agree.
He's not a guy I'm willing to take a shot on. Even with McLaren, even if McLaren does hold out or they trade him, like, I don't think Debo's getting too much of a boost for me. Like, I'm kind of out on him, but I understand if you want to take that shot on him and it works. Kudos to you. He's not like, we say you play to win fantasy football. He's not the type of guy where I'm like, yeah, I'm drafting him to win. I'm drafting him because I need a floor player at this point.
Yeah,
like
Debo used to be a guy that you drafted to win because of that one season he had, but that's such an outlier season in my eyes. I think you're going to get 600-700 yards. Debo's a really good football player. I would not say he's a good wide receiver.
Yeah, I would agree. I think at the end of the year, Jalen Lane might have some buzz for just that nasty end of the season start, but
him and Luke
that's
McCaffrey,
a lot of protection going forward.
Him and Luke McCaffrey, the only receivers under contract after the season. The whole team's free agents. Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler, Zach Ertz, Debo Samuel, Terry McLaurin. Every single offensive piece is a free agent except Ben Sinnott, Jalen Lane, and Luke McCaffrey. So Washington's offense is going to look completely different next season.
Zach Ertz. We'll round this out with the tight ends. Zach Ertz, he finished as tight end 7 last year.
Crazy.
He's going at tight end 18, middle of the 13th round. I am at tight end 20, 66 catches, 91 targets, 654 yards, 7 touchdowns. Ertz, same boat as Goddard for me. He's a guy you could plug in because he could PPR his way to fantasy relevant, but like, he's not a guy I want to lock in my lineup every single week. Like, that just sounds frustrating. That I'm locking in Zach Ertz as my tight end, just hoping he gets 8 catches. Like, there's not a ton of upside with Zach Ertz, but he is a really good just stream option. Put him in your lineup, and you're gonna get the projection.
He's the worst version of Evan Ingram. Not the worst, but he's a lesser version of Evan Ingram.
He's Evan Ingram if Evan Ingram scored touchdowns.
Yeah, but he's going to catch the ball and he's just going to go down. There's not going to be much run after the catch or breaking tackles or big plays, but at the end of the day, in a full point PPR league, they're going to get a bunch of points. But these guys are not going to be any value if you're not playing any. Like, if you're playing 0 points per reception, Zach Ertz, Evan Ingram, guys like that, just take them off your board. You need a tight end that's going to get 8 to 10 touchdowns if you're not playing PPR. And Zach Ertz isn't going to be that guy.
How do you feel about Ben Sinnott? He's going as tight end 38, not drafted. I'm at tight end 37. He finished at tight end 80 last year, which is great. Tight end 80, and he had 5 catches for 28 yards and a touchdown. That was his stat line.
Quite the stat line. I'm at tight end 35, a little bit higher than ADP. I like the guy's a talent. I just need this. He needs to be out on the field. And I think there's a chance it does happen. I'm not saying like Trey McBride, but it is a very similar situation to Trey McBride. And now this is his second year. I think he's going to be on the field more than he was last season.
I do think he plays more, but it's obviously Zach Ertz's room. And that's what kind of, by bump down for Ertz to 20, is kind of just Ben Sinnott seeing more time. Now, if Zach Ertz misses time, where's Ben Sinnott's ceiling for you?
We'll be around the same range as Zach Ertz's, so
Ertz, agree.
Very streamable tight end. Yeah, like 20 to 16, 17. In the same range as Goddard almost. A little bit less than Goddard.
So we see that the same as well, because maybe a top 15 at the most. But
I think the tight end's going to be pretty valuable on this team regardless because of the receiving room's not really deep. It's just McLaren, and he's kind of holding out. And Jaden Daniels showed his rookie year that he's going to look at this tight end. He looked at Zach Ertz a bunch first look. So regardless if it's Zach Ertz or Ben Sinnott, I think one of them is going to be pretty valuable in fantasy this season.
I agree. All right, before we jump to the boys, let's shout out our affiliates over at Finley Hats and W Energy. Finley Hats, their hats built for good times, long times. They have a lifetime warranty, so if your hat is damaged or destroyed, they will replace it or repair it absolutely free. Ton of cool designs. They have weekly drops every Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern time. Ton of cool stuff there. They got the cool Stampede laces. You can customize them. You can switch them out, put some bright colors in there. You can put custom clips on, and you can secure it to your head. If you were out on the lake or you're surfing or you're just, running around at the beach and you want to keep your hat snug, they can do that. It's got the little pocket as well on the inside. You can store your cash. You don't have to carry your wallet around with you. So they're cool hats, cool designs. Anytime I have mine out and I'm out and about on the town, at the grocery store, doing whatever, I get some compliments about my hat. So in the description, there will be a link. You can click it. You'll get a cool 15% off your first purchase. So join the force at Finley Hats. And then W Energy, our OG affiliate. Good, clean energy. No artificial dyes, no sweeteners, none of that stuff. It's jitterless energy, no crash, ton of flavors. They dropped the yuzu fruit. That's their newest one. It's delicious. They have collabs with other content creators and the anime of the year in solo leveling, which is what I'm drinking. I'm drinking the blue solo leveling. I got it mixed in some lemonade. I brought that up last week. I went out, bought some lemonade. It is delightful. So you don't even have to just mix it in with water. You can mix it in with lemonade or juice if that's your thing. So check out our friends over at Dubby. Use the code DRAFTEDUP, and that'll get you a nice 10% discount anytime you use it. So be better with Dubby Energy. Eat that dub.
When you said out and about on the town, instantly just thought like you were cruising the main strip in the 1950s, yeah. Old school style. Let's go cruising out and about in the town.
Miami Vice style, just rocking the clean white pants with the pink tux, pink blazer.
The riskiest choice of dress clothes. Yeah, anything white.
Don Johnson, baby. All right, Dallas Cowboys. Last season finished 7-10. Their win total is set at 7.5 right now. New coach Brian Schottenheimer, who was the offensive coordinator, is now the head coach.
Big Micah visor Parsons guy. Stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, Spurrier.
Big visor guy.
Visors are cool. No, I don't. Yeah, they got the Micah Parsons situation, which we forgot to touch base on last week. He wants out. The vibes aren't great in Dallas right now, and I'm a big vibes guy.
Bad vibes.
And 2 weeks ago, I would have said the Cowboys were an easy playoff team for me, and now I'm not so sure. I still love the passing game in Dallas, no matter
for sure.
how bad the vibes are. I don't think defense is going to be great, but I think the defense will be great for fantasy in essence that it'll make Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens really good for you if you draft him. Dak Prescott, last year he finished his QB 32. He only played 8 games. He's going at quarterback 13, end of the 10th round. I got him at 7. Under 2,000 yards last year, 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That wasn't ideal. He did have a rushing touchdown. His 17-game pace would have been 4,200 yards, 23 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. That likely doesn't happen, the 17 interceptions. And then 2 touchdowns on the ground. So, Dak, Tyler Guyton did get hurt, but he's going to be okay. So that's good for them and good for his progress as a pro. He needs the reps to get better, obviously. Still don't like that they're playing him at left tackle, but I digress. Dak Prescott, I think he's the perfect, if you're not drafting one of these top 5 quarterbacks, I think Dak Prescott is a great weight draft pick because a lot of leagues, Dak Prescott probably doesn't hold a ton of value. You can get him late. You probably get him right around his ADP, and you could pair him with a guy like Drake May or Justin Fields, one of these guys who could give you some rushing upside. But Prescott, for me, is one of my favorite, just punt quarterback position and draft him because I do think the Cowboys passing game is going to be really good for fantasy, despite the fact that I don't think the Cowboys as a whole are going to be a great football team.
Well, when we get into the running backs, they're not going to be able to rely on any of those guys. So I think it's going to be on Dak's shoulders. And they got George, they got CD. I think they got Jake Ferguson as well, tight end. I think those 3 guys are all going to be really productive fantasy assets. Just based off their running game's abysmal, dude. It's really no one besides Javonte Williams, and Miles Sanders is now hurt. So I don't know, dude. I got Dak at 8. I have him well above his ADP, which is 13, which is laughable in my eyes. When Dak plays a full season, he's never not finished as a top 12 quarterback. So Miles
Sanders was back in full practice.
Okay, that is good. But
Jadon
at the end of
Blue
the
also got hurt. He got a heel issue, but he's going to be okay too.
yeah, but at the end of the day, I'm still not. Javonte would be the guy I would most comfortably rely on, but I'm still not confident. Oof. Ooh, hot take. That's going to be a crazy one.
No. It's not. He is my highest ranked of the three of them. It's just, I don't think there's any upside in the running game that I would rather just take Jadon Blue 3 rounds later because he gives you juice and a spark, might have more passing upside.
Mm-hmm.
And I can just get Miles Sanders for free. So I'm more in on them too because I don't have to spend a 9th round pick on any of them, whereas that's what I have to spend on Javonte Williams. But I don't want any of them. None of them. I don't think any of the three, I honestly think this is going to be a 3-back committee, and it's going to be like the Bill Belichick days where it's going to be super frustrating because you never know which running back is going to be getting you fantasy points for Dallas. And again, I just don't think they're going to be efficient anyways. This backfield is abysmal. I would take my shot on Jadon Blue. He's going in the 12th round, but I don't really want any of them. I wish they would have re-signed Rico Dowdle, because then
I agree. He was 1,000 yards back in that offense last season, and I'd be in on Rico way more than any of these guys. But I have Javonte at RB 31. He's the highest ranked Dallas running back, and then I got Blue in the 50s, and I Blue in the 50s, and then Sanders in the 60s. Javonte Williams is the only one I'd be willing to draft. I don't want the other two at all.
Okay. So Javonte Williams is going as the RB 35.
Mm-hmm.
I got him at 43.
Oh,
Jadon Blues beat.
Looks like I'm in on Javonte. I got him at 31.
You're above.
At the end of the day, he is the only one I would draft out of this backfield. I wouldn't want the other two guys.
You see Javonte taking the workload, whereas I do not. I think this is more of a split committee. Jadon Blues going at RB 42. I have him at 47, so I'm still low on ADP on him.
Mm-hmm.
Miles Sanders is RB 64, undrafted. I got him at 58, so I am in essence a Miles Sanders guy by that, but even RB 58, it's not something to go on. But I do want to throw Miles Sanders stuff at you. He only played 11 games, and his 17-game pace.
You should probably remind people where he played last season. People don't know Miles Sanders played football last season.
he was in Carolina, so his 17-game pace would have been 621 yards, 9 touchdowns, 85 catches for 748 yards, and another 9 touchdowns. That's if his 17-game pace of the 2 starts he had. That's what his stat line would have been.
Mm-hmm.
18 touchdowns, 1,200 total yards. You love that. And the one start was he had 1 carry for 7 yards. So it really wasn't even a game. If you take his last game, Week 18, the most pointless week in football for fantasy, if you play in a Week 18 league, I'm so sorry, but that was his other start. He had a more productive game. His stat then would have been 1,122 yards, 850 yards through the air, and 51 catches. There's still juice for this guy. But again, the Dallas situation, it's muggy, it's murky, there's too many backs. Like, all 3 of them are going to see time in my eyes that I'm just kind of out on all of them. But Miles Sanders is free, so I'm more willing to take a draft, my last pick on him, than I am drafting Javonte in the 9th. Jadon Blue's in the 12th, so I'm more willing to take him just because he's exciting, he's got juice, he's fun, than I am Javonte in the 9th. But again, I'm not advising you to draft any of these guys. I'm staying out of it.
Yeah, if I had the choice to stay out of it, I would. But like I said, Javonte would be the only one I'd be willing to draft. I don't think the other 2 are going to do much of anything, to be honest. But man, this backfield's bad. And my problem with Sanders is he needed all of the volume in Philly he needed that to be productive. And that was with an amazing offensive line, which isn't the case in Dallas. He's not going to have high volume. I'm just worried about Sanders in a whole not being, even if he's on the field, I don't think he's going to be fantasy relevant because he's not going to be the volume guy. I don't think any of them are going to be the volume guy, to be honest. So I'm just more comfortable with Javonte skill set wise out of the 3. I think he's the most talented running back on the field.
That's fair. Put Joe Milton back there. Let Joe Milton.
I hate that guy.
I love Joe Milton. He's fun.
He is the perfect
Cowboys
example of that. It is not just a physical trait to be a quarterback, because he has all the physical traits. But my God, that guy could not hit a side of a barn if you gave him 10 passes to hit it. He's Anthony Richardson. He's going to make exciting
his
throws.
Looked a lot better in camp, though. His camp stuff has looked good. I think he's a perfect backup quarterback for Dak, because he's a guy who's not going to go out there and play safe football like a lot of backup quarterbacks do.
Yeah, he's a lesser Jameis
Joe
Winston.
Milton's going to sling it. Milton's going to sling it, and he's fun. He's good for football. Like it wouldn't surprise me. I think like my spiciest take would be if Dak does get hurt, I'd be willing to say Joe Milton is the quarterback. Then going forward, they move on from him if they figure out a way to move his contract. But yeah, Dallas, get yourself a real running back. Trade for Tyler Algier. He'd be great for them. But I digress.
They had a 1,000-yard back last season, who is now a backup in Carolina. So
yeah, they pretty much traded Rico Dowdle for Miles Sanders.
That's a bad trade. Let me trade you this 1,000-yard back for Miles Sanders, who is
they also
decrepit.
traded Carolina a fourth for Jonathan Mingo.
Again, bad trade. They also traded like a third for fucking Trey Lance.
Yeah. But they did get George Pickens. Let's talk about the receivers. CeeDee Lamb last year, wide receiver 8. He's going as wide receiver 3, middle of the first. I have him at wide receiver 3. 101 catches last year, 1,194 yards, 6 touchdowns, another 70 yards on the ground. And then George Pickens last season finishes wide receiver 42 in Pittsburgh. He's going at wide receiver 28, back end of the 5th. I have him at wide receiver 27. 59 catches for 900 yards, 3 touchdowns for him. Again, I think Dallas defense is going to be bad. This team's going to have to pass the ball a ton because we already expressed how bad we think the running game is. That I think both these guys are great values. And again, it's another team you can stack your quarterback with if that's what you want to do. It's incredibly easy to get Dak and CD or Dak and George Pickens together because they're all going reasonably. Obviously it's hard to do Dak and CD because CD you have to take him in the first. But if you draft CeeDee Lamb, if your board falls the right way, I think I'm punting the quarterback position and trying to get Dak Prescott.
Yeah, 2 years ago, that combination won many people championships, being the Dak and CD stretch. Their back end of the game, their season 2 years ago was phenomenal. Like an 8-9 game stretch, they were unstoppable. It was very similar to Burrow and Chase last season. I have CeeDee Lamb at wide receiver 2. I have him over Justin Jefferson just based off of Dak and the offense that he's in. And I got George at 27, right where you got him. Same bucket.
We almost lost CeeDee Lamb. Did you see him get run over by a ref?
Yes. He got fucking destroyed on the sideline because he turned it back to him. That was funny. Classic Dallas. Couldn't happen to a nicer team. I'm always in on CeeDee Lamb. He's so talented. He's one of the best receivers. He has the ability to finish wide receiver 1. He's done it before, and in this offense, he can easily do it again. And George Pickens, I think he's so talented. He's probably the best number 2 receiver Dak's ever had. So I love this wide receiving crew with Dak and CD and George.
In this offense with Dak.
He ate
touchdowns that one year.
Yeah, he ate last year. It's definitely a possibility for
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. It's definitely a possibility though for George to have 10 touchdowns, just based on the high upside, big playability from Dak and himself. It would not surprise me if George Pickens had a quote for quote huge breakout season.
Yep, we both have him at 27, but I would have him in the same tier as a lot of the guys. DK Metcalf, who is my wide receiver 24, I have him and Pickens in the same tier. And if I was staring at both of them on the clock, I would probably take Pickens over DK just because of the upside of the offense. And I trust Dak Prescott more than I do Aaron Rodgers, which is why I would suggest drafting tier-wise, because if you're too fixated on rankings, then you're always drafting the highest guy. But if you have them same bucket, you kind of lean. You can figure out how your team's built. If you need a more upside guy, George Pickens gives you that in Dallas.
You brought up tiers. He is in, I think, my largest receiving tier. It starts at Devontae Smith at 20, and it goes down to Calvin Ridley at 28. So it's almost 10 guys. That is just a huge bucket, and those guys are just all in the same bucket in my head. They can easily finish a wide receiver 2, low end, middle of the pack wide receiver 2, or they could just be like a high level flex guy. But I like all of those guys though. That's a good bucket to be in, and I really do like George Pickens a lot this year.
And Jake Ferguson, tight end 25 last year, didn't score any touchdowns. He's going at tight end 16,
Got
beginning of
paid.
the 11th. He did get paid. I'm at 19, a little bit lower than ADP, but
Whoa,
59
19.
catches for 494 yards last year. I hold Ferguson the same as I do Goddard and Zach Ertz. He's a good streamable tight end. You can plug him in your lineup. It just worries me. Like we keep saying, like, oh, Jake Ferguson's really good if he scores touchdowns. Does he though? He had 2 the year before, and he had a bunch of red zone targets. And we're like, oh, next year touchdown progression. No, he had 0. He went down. So it worries me that like this dude and like Dak's been in camp, and you take this with a grain of salt. He's been utilizing Luke Schoonmaker, so like it wouldn't surprise me to see some more 2 tight end sets from this team. That's why I have Ferguson a little lower, but he falls into that good streamable option. He's just not a tight end I'm hitching my wagon to and putting him in as my starter regularly, but he's a good bye week stream if you punt the position kind of guy. But I don't think there's a tight end 1 upside for him. Like I'm out on the Jake Ferguson's going to score touchdowns.
I have him at tight end 13, and he is the guy that I try to get.
Oh,
if I, yeah, oh yeah,
okay.
I'm in on Ferguson 100%.
You're in on Big Biscuit, baby.
Yeah, I think it could very easily be the season 2 years ago. We finished tight end 9. I think just because of the running game is not there in Dallas this season. Dak loves this dude. He had 102 targets 2 seasons ago. Mm-hmm. Even last year, banged up a little bit. He had close to 90 targets. So I think it's going to repeat. I think he's going to have close to 100, if not more than 100 targets in a really good offense. He is a tight end, though, I try to snag if I've punted the tight end, because I can get him pretty late. You said he's going tight end 16 or something like that. So
yeah, tight end 16, beginning of the 11th round.
I think that's like his floor, to be honest. I think his floor is like 16, 17. And I think he has the ability to be like 8-9 range, just based off Dallas's offense.
All right. Yeah, I'm not there. I think Dallas is it's Pickens and CD with Dak, and then you could, like, I'm not saying you can't play Jake Ferguson. I think he's a good streaming option. I just think it's going to be a lot of peaks and valleys for him with the other 2 guys dominating.
It's not going to be a fun ride for sure, but I think come the end of the season, it's going to be a productive ride for sure.
Okay, I hope so, because I do like Jake Ferguson, but I just don't know if it happens. All right. The New York Football Giants.
I hate this.
Last season, they finished at 3-14. Their win total is set at 5.5.
Mm-hmm.
Brutal schedule.
With one of the hardest schedules in the last 15 years.
But 6 wins. I don't know if you get it, but I do think you get to 5. I think that's a good line. I
think in any possible way the Giants are quote for quote better than people think they're going to be, it's just because of our defense.
The defense is so good, and
defense
and you
wins
see a bad
football games.
Yep.
So
and going into the offseason,
rough.
people were like, target the offenses playing the Giants. I'm not going to want to have pieces playing the Giants, because I just think you guys are going to be in a ton of just gross, close football games.
Yes.
A lot 100%. Of I don't think we're going to see a ton of points scored on you guys. I trust your pass rush. And I trust Brian Daboll as well as a coach. Like, we're high on Daboll. Obviously, you love him. He's your coach. So, Russell Wilson. He is the quarterback for now. QB 24 last year. He's going at quarterback 32, which is where I have him. 2,400 yards, 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Another 155 on the ground, 2 touchdowns through rushing. His 17-game pace would have been 3,800 yards, 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 240 on the ground, another 3 touchdowns. So a nice little year. Russ wasn't necessarily bad last year. He just wasn't great. He was fine. He was serviceable.
Yeah.
And then
he hasn't been as bad as people think Russ has been the last couple of years. He's been tolerable.
I like Russ more than I like Aaron Rodgers, even though my rankings don't say that. My rankings only say that because
Rodgers isn't going to lose the job.
I think Jackson Dart is going to play a ton this year.
Mm-hmm.
I have him statted out for more games. I have him at QB 31, which is where he's going. So I've referred to Jackson Dart as an anchor baby for the Giants, that Daboll and Shane drafted him. Like, you can't fire us. We had a baby. and we drafted a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And Jackson Dart, my biggest things were him, reading defenses, stuff like that, because of the weird Ole Miss offense. I saw a little bit of it in the preseason game. He didn't miss some throws and make some throws where I'm just like, you got to work on that. But obviously, playing time fixes those issues usually.
Yeah.
But he was way more impressive than I thought he was going to be off the jump.
For sure.
So I am excited to see what he does there. And I don't know where you fall, but like I think he plays the majority of the year as your quarterback.
I have him ranked the lowest out of our 3 quarterbacks. I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay.
I have Wilson at 31, Winston at 33, and then Dart at 36.
Okay.
I just don't know. Like, I think he's going to see the field. I just don't know when they're going to throw him to the Wolves. It honestly wouldn't surprise me if Wilson plays the first 6 weeks and then Winston plays the next 4 and then Dart just plays the back end of the season. But I don't think we're going to be good. Our schedule is really hard. I think we're going to be at most 5-6 wins. But our defense is going to be really good. So I don't know. The quarterback wise, don't draft any Giants quarterback. None of them are going to be good in any fantasy situation this season. Yeah. I mean, not even streamable. Agreed. Just don't play a Giants quarterback unless it's Jameis Winston. And once Winston gets onto the field, then he enters the realm. But I'm saying if he does, if Winston plays, he's a streaming option just because of the way he plays football. Him and Malik Neighbors, my God, would be insane.
Yeah. I think Winston's only there as a safety valve if someone gets hurt. I think Wilson starts out the year 6 games, maybe, and then Dart plays the rest of the year.
Probably 1-6 or 1-5 in those first 6 weeks.
Yeah. The running backs. Tyrone Tracy, Jr., RB26 last year. I loved him coming out of Purdue. I was higher on him than a lot of people. And I pounded the table all last year that he was going to win this job. And I was confident about it. He ended up getting the job. He's being drafted as RB31, end of the 7th round. I have him at 29, a little bit higher than where he's being projected. 839 yards, 5 touchdowns, 38 catches for 284 yards, another touchdown. His 17-game pace, if he would have, based off his starts, 1,148 yards, 7 touchdowns, 48 catches, 344 yards, 1 touchdown, which would have put him as RB13. He looked good last year. And I think the only reason people are just kind of just like out on him is because you guys drafted Cam Scatterbo. And he's being drafted at RB34, a couple spots behind Tyrone Tracy at the beginning of the 9th round. I have him at RB36. I still think this is Tracy's backfield, and Cam, he's hurt. He's got an ankle injury. I don't know if he's back yet. I know it's been reported that Cam Scatterbo is probably going to play the passing downs more so early on, but I think unless Tyrone Tracy fumbles this job away, literally, because he did have a little bit of a fumbling issue last year, I don't know how fantasy relevant Cam Scatterbo ends up being. I think Tyrone Tracy could end up being a valuable guy. Drafted at RB31, I think he could finish easily as a RB2, like in the Tony Pollard range. I think that is the range of outcomes for him. Like it's not sexy. You're not going to love picking it, but I'm very comfortable leaving with Tyrone Tracy as my RB2 in a PPR league.
I got Tracy at 35. I got Scatterbo at 30. I got Scatterbo at 34. That's insane coming from me.
You think Scatterbo's taking the backfield?
I do. I'm not a Scatterbo guy. I've been very anti-Scatterbo the whole draft process. He is now on my team, and I will admit he has turned the corner to me liking him. I'm not there yet, but I would give the credit to where it is due. He's already a locker room favorite. He's huge in the media. He's what this team needs, and I think Tracy just wasn't efficient enough. I think he's going to be the starter to start the season. I think he's just going to get the job taken from him. I think Scatterbo's going to be already on the field for passing stuff, and I think he's just going to be a way more efficient runner. I don't know if his style is going to work long-term in the NFL, but it kind of seems like it's going to work short-term. And if that's 1 or 2 seasons at like a really good level, I don't know what his ceiling is, but I think he's a more talented running back than Tyrone Tracy is. I think Tracy will still be on the field most of the season in downs for obviously smaller roles, but I think Scadaboo is going to get the ball rolling come like week 6 or 7, and then it's just not going to turn back. It's going to be mostly his.
Yeah. So we see it a little bit, because I don't think, like I said, unless Tyrone Tracy literally fumbles the job away, I don't think he loses this backfield. I think he's... I think it could end up being a true 50-50 split, but I do think Tyrone Tracy is being drafted under his ADP. I'm very comfortable with him as my RB2.
I just don't think he's the running back that they want.
Scadaboo has the hamstring issue. He's missing time. So, like, I think that plays a part in it. And I think the average fan's going to be like, okay, I'm Scadaboo. He's really good in college, really fun. And I think that's what's kind of portrayed the ADPs this way. I still think this is Tracy's backfield. I think he's going to be the more productive back this season. I think Scadaboo's fantasy relevance might come in the pass catching game, maybe steals a couple touchdowns, but I think Tyrone Tracy will start all 17 games bearing injury.
Yeah, I just don't think he's the kind of running back that they need. Like, they need a running back that's going to go in there and grind away the clock, and he's not that kind of guy. He doesn't fit the power back, and in order for the Giants to be good this year, it's going to be all defense and a running game. I don't think Tracy's that kind of back, and I think Brian Dable kind of knows that. I think he has a role on this team. I don't think it's as a starting running back, though.
Okay. So, all right, it's interesting to see that how we view the backfield a little differently there. The passing game, though, it's Malik Neighbors, and that's it.
Oh, well,
Wan'Dale has PPR. He has PPR value,
option.
But it's disgusting value.
It's value.
But Malik Neighbors, he finishes wide receiver 6 last year. He's going as wide receiver 6, tail end of the first round. I have him at wide receiver 7, so one spot lower than ADP, but 170 targets last year, 109 catches, 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns. And really the only reason I have him at 7, like one spot lower, is that I just think Jackson Dart's playing the majority of the year. So rookie quarterbacks, it is a little harder to sustain a wide receiver 1, but he's going to be hyper targeted.
Yeah.
And he's well worth drafting in the first round. Like, I'm not going to push back on that at all. Like, he's a superstar. He's got the toe thing, but he's had that since LSU, so I don't think it's really a problem going forward. It's just a monitor thing. I'd be more worried about the fact that he just takes a ton of hits. Like, he's not trying to run out of bounds. He got banged up a lot last year. He had the concussion, and
he takes a ton of hits.
He tried to fend it off, like, I don't have a concussion. They're like, hey, you gotta get out of here, dude.
Yeah, he takes a ton of hits because he's seen 170 targets last year, so he's hyper targeted. He has the ball a bunch, as he should. He's the best guy in this offense. I don't know. It's just weird. Like, these elite guys, what do you say about them? Like, yeah, like Neighbors, ZD, they're good. They're good at football. You know what you're getting with them. He did this with Daniel Jones last year as his quarterback. Russell Wilson is...
And Tommy DeVito, and maybe Tim Boyle. I don't know if he was in for the Boyle game.
But Russell Wilson's a legitimate quarterback. He's had 200-plus starts in his career. He's won a Super Bowl. He is that guy. Like, sure, he's old and he's not as good as he once was, but Wilson's the best quarterback the Giants have had since Eli. Like, this is the best quarterback room we've had in maybe a decade because of what we've had the last 8 years, and it's been a struggle. But I don't know, man. Like, Neighbors is going to eat. I think 170 targets is on the table again because of Wan'Dale and Slayton as our backups, or not backups, but other 2 receivers. There's just it's a good receiving room for football. It's not a good fantasy football room. It's Wan'Dale. Do you know how many targets what you're going to get.
Robinson had last year?
Like 140.
Yeah, on the dot, 140.
I know my Giant stats.
93 catches for 699 yards.
And that is disgusting. 93 catches for 600 yards. There's guys that had 1,000 yards on 69 catches.
Yeah.
Like, look at Deshaun Jackson's career.
Those are Deebo Samuel numbers.
Yeah, it's George Pickens numbers. It's 1,000 yards on no catches, and Wan'Dale is just the complete opposite of that, dude. Yeah. Did you see how good he was looking without pads on? Like, if you've seen any of those,
but
if you see any of those,
probably so shifty.
Exactly, and that's why he was drafted. once you put pads on that guy, he literally becomes like a 4 yards a catch.
His yards per target was 5 yards per target.
That is disgusting.
7.5 yards per catch.
I've never seen the man break a tackle either. He's the Zach Ertz of receivers.
He finished as wide receiver 36 in full PPR last year. Mm-hmm. He's going as wide receiver 69, not drafted.
That's
I got
crazy.
him at 56. I think Wan'Dale is a guy you could take with one of your last picks and be like, look, you're not going to love it. You're going to hate it. You're going to hate yourself. But the upside to 100 catches is there because he is he's the waiting in stone number 2 receiver for the time being. And I don't know if Darius Slayton or Jalen Hyatt or anyone else in this room ends up taking over the wide receiver 2 role, but right now he's the guy. 140 targets last year. It's gross, but in a pinch, he's a guy you can put in your lineup and get PPR your way, literally to 15 points because he can catch the ball 12 times.
I think if we're just going off of snaps, Darius Slayton's going to be out on the field as much as he is, but he doesn't see them as many targets or receptions as Wan'Dale does because they're 2 different kind of receivers. Yeah. Slayton's going to try to take the top off of receivers or the defense, where Wan'Dale's just eating up. Really close.
Yeah, I have them close in my rankings. I got Slayton at 64 and Wan'Dale at 56. And Slayton is right now being not drafted at all. He's wide receiver 86 in ADP, and he finished as 73 last year. I just think there's a role for him, especially for Dart and Russ. Like, Russ doesn't want to throw the ball in the middle of the field. He wants to stretch it. He wants to take the top off the defense. Mm-hmm. Well, that's Darius Slayton's job. He's literally a run straight type of guy and throw it down there to him. I think Slayton is really good with Russ, and there's times last year where Slayton, you could plug him in your lineup and just hope for the deep touchdown. I think that situation's there. Like, he provides more of an upside than Wan'Dale does. Wan'Dale is the gross floor. If you just need the points, you put in Wan'Dale. But if you're teetering at the end, you just want to try to play spoiler, I think Darius Slayton you need the upside play. Darius Slayton's going to give you that compared to Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah, Slayton plays very similar to how Tyler Lockett plays football. And then Russell Wilson obviously had a huge connection with Tyler Lockett. They're multiple years in Seattle. It could be very similar to that. They could, honestly. I like Slayton's talent. I like Wan'Dale's talent. I just don't know how good they're going to be for fantasy. Obviously, Wan'Dale's safer because of the PPR option, but I don't know. I think both these guys are good football players at the end of the day. I just don't know how relevant they are because our offense is going to be pretty rough. To where Malik Neighbors isn't an issue because he's a superstar.
You know who else can stretch the defense? Jalen Hyatt.
No, he can't. There's nothing that guy can do. Oh. That guy is an absolute bum.
I can't quit him.
I know, which is disgusting. He's terrible. You gotta just stop. He is absolutely terrible.
I can't quit it, man.
He is arguably worse than Kadarius Toney, and that's saying a lot. Both those guys there just shouldn't be NFL receivers.
Wide receiver 4 on the depth chart, baby.
Yeesh.
Right there behind Darius Slayton. Same role. Slayton's got to get hurt, and then my guy gets on the field. Theo Johnson. He doesn't fit the mold of the other 3 tight ends we talked about, where you just like plug him in and stream and be comfortable with that. Theo Johnson, I don't know how I feel about him.
But he fits the mold of, he's super athletic. He's a Penn State tight end, so you know what you're getting that way. Like,
but he doesn't look athletic on the field.
No, but he's a crazy athlete. If you were looking at his stats last year as a rookie, we were really targeting him the games he was on the field. He was used a lot.
I got you here.
Yep. I think there's a chance where he has a low-key breakout season because he's going to be the number 2 target.
Because of the room, he could be the number 2 target, like you said.
100%.
On the season, if you look at the season as a whole, 29 for 331, 1 touchdown in the 12 games. But his last 4 games is when he was really involved before he got hurt. If you take those 4 games, I love doing it, set it out for 17. 98 targets, 64 catches for 769 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's great for fantasy football for the tight end position.
Yeah, so for sure.
He does bring a ceiling that I don't necessarily think the other 3 guys have. because he's athletic and he can.
I agree.
He could clearly be the number 2 option in the room, where the other guys, like Zach Ertz, putting aside because he is the number 2 option there, but he doesn't give you a ton of upside. There's like Dallas Goedert's behind Devonta Smith. He's never going to be the number 2. Jake Ferguson's behind George Pickens. Probably will never be the number 2. Theo Johnson could outplay Wan'Dale Robinson, and if Jackson Dart plays like I think he's going to play the majority of the year, Theo Johnson becomes his best friend, the safety blanket. So, like, I do think there's upside with him. I do think he's worth maybe drafting with your last pick, see how it is. Like I hold him sort of in the same boat as, like, Elijah Arroyo, Mason Taylor, these guys you draft at the end of the draft and just hope week 1, they boom.
He's in the
targets
bucket.
Could be there for him.
Yeah, the bucket he's in is just like highly athletic tight ends that can take over, like Chig Okonkwo, Jawan Jennings, Theo Johnson, Jontavius Sanders, Mason Taylor, Elijah Arroyo. These guys are all amazing athletes and have the ability to take that step forward. Mm-hmm. And he can be the number 2 target in this offense, because even if Wan'Dale out-targets him, the targets Theo Johnson sees are going to be better than Wan'Dale's targets. Wan'Dale's 140 targets were garbage targets. They literally equated to 600 some yards. That's insane.
Yeah. So like
thinking about it,
his yards per target.
Yeah,
was 5.
No one has 140 targets with 600 yards. It's not a thing.
No, Wan'Dale Robinson.
It's a Wan'Dale thing. Yeah, it's a Wan'Dale thing.
Like Theo Johnson's yards per target was 7.7, and his yards per catch was almost 11.5.
Yeah.
Like, there's big play potential there for Theo Johnson. He could stretch the field a little bit. He can work the middle. The problem is, if Russell Wilson's the guy, Theo Johnson, probably not relevant. Russell Wilson has never really utilized a tight end for fantasy football, ever.
I could see using him very similar to the DK, though. Because we don't have that big body receiver. Like, Slayton's going to take the top off, but we don't have a big body physical guy.
Wan'Dale plays big. Or not Wan'Dale, Malik Neighbors.
Wan'Dale plays big.
Malik Neighbors plays like he's 6'5".
Malik Neighbors just plays. Yeah, he plays football.
Just like Jamar Chase. He plays physical. So, like, I think he can fit that big body role.
I think if Russell Wilson's still the quarterback, I still trust Theo Johnson. I don't trust him, but I still think he has the chance to take the upside. For sure.
I'm less in with Russ as his quarterback, just because history shows Russell Wilson doesn't ever use his tight end. All right.
Yeah, but Russ always has had, like, good receiving rooms. This is not a good receiving room. This is terrible.
Well, Pittsburgh wasn't a good receiving room, and I don't think he really utilized Pat Freiermuth.
I would say he was the number 2 target behind George, for sure. This guy's Googling stuff on the podcast. Phenomenal podcast.
I was trying to figure out. I was trying to remember if he was good at the beginning of the year or at the end of the year, being Freiermuth, with Fields or Russ. Maybe I don't know. 3 targets. It's like every other week. Yeah.
I trust Wilson to get the ball to the best guys on the offense at the end of the day, and that could be Theo Johnson behind Malik Neighbors. Like, it doesn't matter that, because he always used just DK and Lockett and guys and Doug Baldwin. He's always had good receivers. He's never really had
from that standpoint.
So yeah, I trust him to get the ball to the best playmakers, and Theo Johnson could slide into that role.
All right. How do you have this division panning out?
The Giants at the bottom. That much I can tell you for sure. But no, it's going to be Philadelphia at the top, the Commanders in second, Dallas in third, and then the Giants rounding it out.
Going chalk. Look at you.
It's bad vibes in Dallas, dude.
Me too. I'm also going chalk. Philly, Washington, Dallas, New York.
I had the Commanders and Dallas tied when I did my rankings. I still have them very close, but there's really bad. There's bad vibes with Washington, but there's just really bad vibes in Dallas.
Yeah. I had Washington with 8 wins. I had Dallas with 6, and you guys with 5.
Dallas with 6. Oof. I think I have 8 or 9 wins.
Yeah.
But yeah, Philly towards the top for sure. I don't see anyone taking the division from Philly.
I agree. I think Schottenheimer's a one and done coach. I think
it's the
Washington's just going to have a weird bad luck season, and you guys are going to be competitive, but it's not going to amount to wins, and Philly just kind of gets to walk away with this one. All right.
Yeah.
This, just like the AFC's, really kind of predictable.
Yeah, I think this division's pretty easy to see how it's going to fall out. I really don't see there being a surprise team in this division, being us or Dallas, because the Commanders can't really be a surprise team.
Yep. All right. That's it for the episode. You can catch us later this week with the NFC North. We get to talk about mine.
Now we get to get your division in here.
The show, you know where to watch, listen to it, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere where you listen to your podcast. We're also there if it's not one of those three. Like, rate, subscribe, review, follow, share, all that good stuff. Support our friends over at Finley and Dubby. And we'll catch you guys here later this week.
Hell yeah. Bye,
Adios.
y'all.